Hi guys, and welcome back to Higher Hertz. My name's Justin Leopard, your online cello teacher, and today I want to tackle a conceptual question about cello, one that's probably a good question to ask if you're trying to decide how much time to devote to it and what your expectations should be. It's also a question that you already know if you've read the title of this video. Is cello hard to learn? So to answer this question, I'll just start by simply saying, yes, cello is hard to learn. Most things in life are hard to learn anyway, but cello's hard for a series of reasons. Music is hard because you have to be able to conceptualize a lot of different things at once. In order to be creative with music, you have to understand a lot of different musical parameters that are going on and be able to relate that to your own feelings. So it's a global brain process that involves a lot of different elements of intelligence, including emotional intelligence. And then beyond that, any musician is going to have technique, to command their instrument. And cello, for all of the benefits it gives, some of those same benefits result in some of the things that make it difficult. So for example, one of the nice things about cello, the great things about cello, is vibrato, and really being able to shape the notes with vibrato, to be able to make more resonance happen with the instrument, to be able to shape notes in a way that's very similar to what the human voice can do, and to have control over the pitch in a way that also allows slides and all sorts of other really wonderful things. Well, what we get in exchange for that is, we don't have frets. We have to be completely in control of the intonation. So we never are able to stop thinking about intonation as cellists, even though there's other things to think about, including what note to play, which is different from whether you're playing it in tune. Intonation involves concepts like, are you in tune with the group? Are you in tune with the melody? Sometimes you'll want to adjust the tuning in order to make it work, and that's a very complicated subject that deserves its own whole video. But suffice it to say that intonation alone makes cello have a certain amount of difficulty when you're playing it. In addition to that, we of course have to deal with the bow. And I would say that the bow is even more of a challenge to master than intonation. With intonation, it's a lot about developing your ear and then developing the muscle memory for generally where your fingers go. But you're always going to be using your ear to kind of precisely adjust your finger as you go and make sure that you're in tune. So once you have all of the positions down and, you're working on your shifts, well, from there, at least, that difficult point to get to, intonation is somewhat manageable of a concept. But the bow is even more, has even more dimensions to it. So with the bow, you have, all bow speed, contact point, weight, all of these things that are going to contribute to the sound that comes out. You're also pulling the string not at its ideal place. The ideal place to pull the string would be in the center so that there's like an even vibration between the strings. When you bow down here by the bridge, you're causing an uneven distribution. So you can actually see, it probably won't show up in the camera as well, but at home, just notice how you can almost see a wave inside of the cello. And that's going to be, the way that the string is mostly moving, which is why it appears to you as being thicker. Whereas the rest of the vibration blur of the string is, the rest of the places that the string is going. So if you pull it center, you're just going to see equal motion. But when you're pulling it down here, you see this very thick and complicated line that goes through the string. So what I'm trying to get at is that it's hard to control tone and articulation with the bow. Then of course you have to put it all together, and there's only so many notes you can play at the same time, especially considering that the bridge is arched. So unlike guitar players who can strum, we would have to roll, and then that's its own whole thing. And there's a certain limitation to the hours we can practice physically. This is not unique to cellists. Wind players and singers also have this, because there's only so much your body can physically give to the instrument. And generally anything above 5 hours is actually considered unhealthy. And you do hear stories of people practicing more than that, but most likely people who are actually practicing more than that long term are extremely efficient, one, and two, probably some of that time is spent mentally practicing as well. So they're finding ways to get more time practicing with still being good to their body. So generally, 5 hours is going to be considered the top of what's healthy. So hopefully that's good news too, if you've been feeling like it's always practice more, practice more, practice more. No, it's kind of like diet, in the sense that with diet, you don't just want to think about eating less, you want to think about filling your body with good stuff. So it's like that with practicing too. It's not just about practicing more. It's about filling your body, your practice routine with the right stuff as well, so that when you're able to play the music that you want to play, you're able to play it. So all of these things put together, they make cello a hurdle, and then every time you want to learn an element of cello or a piece, you're adding a layer to all of the different pieces of information. And as you get to certain points in your process of learning cello, you're going to have certain like inspirations, realizations, epiphanies, where it clicks and you're like, oh, now I understand how this relates to this, or now I understand what this concept even really means. And as you continue to study, your understanding of all those concepts gets deeper and deeper. And if you commit to it for long enough, then you end up becoming a professional cellist of some sort, or at least somebody who is with a high understanding of how to play their instrument, because there are people not making money from their instruments who still have a high level understanding of how to make music on their instruments. So I hope this video is sort of helpful in showing you the schematics, the broad strokes of what's involved in learning the cello and just what some of the pitfalls can be, sort of straight up that learning music is tougher than people think it's going to be. And on top of that, cello, along with violin and piano, are some of the hardest instruments to learn. And that's like because of some of these objective measures of what has to go on. That being said, hopefully, if you desire cello enough to put in that effort, this video helps give you kind of a roadmap of what you can expect on that journey. Maybe even starting to just realize that it's possible to think about something in terms of 20 years in the future, which is not something we usually think about. But when it comes to cello, if you can have sort of a vision of yourself, being the great, wonderful player you wanted to be like 20 years from the starting place, well, you're probably going to have a better journey, be more likely to stick through it, because it's supposed to take a long time, and that it's supposed to be tough and that you have to overcome, roadblocks. And if you know that going into it, I think at least it makes it harder to stick with it than if you come into it thinking that it's just going to be something simple and easy to learn. And at the first sign of frustration, you think, maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe I don't have the talent, or maybe, I realize I could put it in, but I don't actually have the time, and I didn't realize that I didn't want to put that much effort in. So hopefully this video is useful for just sort of parsing all that out before you get too into it. So thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Justin Leopard with Higher Hertz. Please subscribe down below for more lesson videos. You can find more of my playing at the Vagabond Cellist if you like. And for more, we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.